But we do have to do this because, Will, this is what we do. We look for the positives in everything that we do. I'm going to come to you first, Will. What are some of your positives in this game, coming out of this game?
Yeah, I'm going to focus a lot on our defense. We
Yeah.
gave up a lot of running plays, so that obviously would be in the negatives. But they were, as you talk about it every single week, bend but don't break.
Yes.
We made the stops at the end of the game to win. All right. They had opportunities in the red zone that we were able to make stops, get interceptions, or just stop them inches from scoring like we did. We had a lot of pressure. Our defensive line again had 5 sacks. Allen, Sweat, Payne, and Obata seem to be every single week getting a sack. So I really like that from our defense. I also saw we had 11 tackles by the defensive line, 10 tackles by our 2 linebackers. So to me, that means we're stuffing them. Now, obviously, somehow, they gave up a chunk of a ton of running yards. So that stat actually that I pulled means nothing. But when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, that means we're making plays and not relying on safeties to make tackles. But the defensive line made a lot of good plays out there. And they made timely plays too, big sacks that took Chicago out of field goal range. Yes. And that's what we needed.
Yeah. I mean, sticking right along that line on defense, you talked about it. We shut them down in the red zone, 0 for 3, and that was huge. We shut them on 4th down. But one of the major things, look, you got to be quite honest. Those 5 sacks, I absolutely think that changes the dynamic. But even beyond the sacks, we were laying the lumber to Justin Fields. I was saying this to them on the roundtable yesterday. We hit him, and we hit him hard. There was a number of times, even after that touchdown pass that he did throw, where he's getting up off the ground and really laboring to get up. And, at one point he did the little push-ups or whatever to kind of make people look like, oh, yeah, I'm good. But he was hurt. You know what I mean? He was down there for a good minute. So we absolutely got to the quarterback, and that definitely affected it. Look, that one pass that he threw was amazing. But at the end of the day, just 7 points. There was opportunities, and I know everybody says, oh, it's the Bears, it's this, it's that. Any NFL team in the red zone, stopping them in the way we did, getting the interception, getting the turnover on downs. You know what I mean? Just completely stopping them, shutting. That's big. Yes. That's big, and that's something that we can definitely build on. So that was something that I absolutely loved. But look, I'm going to turn it over to the other side, and we alluded to it earlier. And what I've been talking about all year: the running game. Talking about establishing the run and one of my keys to victory. We had over 120 rushing yards total, and between our 2 main guys, 35, like I said, by Gibson. Brian Robinson got 60. That's helping the quarterback, especially now with things we're about to talk about with Wentz being out and Heineke coming in. You need to have that running game to be at least something. If it's not a viable threat, you need it to at least be something that they think about, something that they can't sleep on. And I think with the two-headed monster that we have with Gibson, getting him in there and maybe not up the middle, but maybe off tackle runs, and you have Robinson, who's the bruiser that's going to lower his shoulder and get those extra yards. I mean, that could be absolutely huge for us going forward, taking a lot of the pressure off of Heineke and Scott Turner and the play calls. Get the ball to those guys, let him make it easier for him. So what are you thinking, man?
I'm following right along that and kind of with the offensive line and with our 2-headed monsters and even 3-headed. McKissick had 2 carries for 20 yards and one of them was a 16-yarder. So he had that big burst. Was our offensive line improved dramatically in the second half of that game. The running game really got a chance to get going, and they stuck with it. And they found that, hey, we can get first downs by going back to the well and letting these guys run it. And with the fact that Carson was injured, take some of that pressure off of him. Because they are so maligned, and because they gave up a couple sacks, so they weren't perfect. But the fact that they started to gel, it's like, okay, maybe they are finding something. Maybe they're creating some cohesion there. It's game number 6. They've got a little bit of camaraderie happening there, and maybe that can spill over to the Packers, and we can get some type of running game going to, like you said, take away the need for hero ball.
Right, right. They get that momentum going. Get something. And look, I'm gonna pull a word out of our good friend and dear friend of the show, Nathan Snell. We need to get our identity. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Be a run. If we're gonna put time in the run, we talk about week after week about establishing run. Let's be that. Let them people say they have to stop our run, and then let our pass beat us. And honestly, look, what we do have is we have Taylor Heineke coming back. He played all year for us a year ago, got us 7 victories. We know what kind of threat he can, and we always say he's like a shot in the arm. He can definitely propel us coming forward. So having the running game, we know about what happened in the receivers. We know the limitations of him and everything. But if you give him that running game, one of the things that we love to do, or we at least did a lot with him, that play action. Mm-hmm. So having this running game, establishing it now is great, because coming into what we know is coming down the line the next couple of games, these are winnable games if we can do just like we did in that 4-game winning streak. Run the ball, control the time of possession, first downs, and so on. You know? Let's go to this real quick. Ben says the game against Green Bay is definitely winnable for Washington this weekend. Green Bay's run defense is awful, and Breece Hall for the Jets had a huge day against them. Oh, yeah.
He's taking away my keys to victory.
Oh, this guy.
You know, when we're talking about the running game, just to kind of put a little bow on it, this is what we talked about at the beginning of the season. Yeah. This is what we thought our offense was going to be, that the run was going to set up our pass to allow Carson to hit you deep, a little bit. And while that part didn't happen, we thought we were going to be a two-headed running monster tandem, and that this would be who we are. And games would be grinded out, slower, lower scoring, but, and it kind of, 12 points is not what we have in mind, but that kind of was. And so maybe that can be what we continue to do a little bit moving forward.
Yeah. And we're going to quickly move on. I'm going to tell you, you know what, I'm going to wait till we go into negatives, because I don't want us to go back in to what I feel like we might be going back in, a 20-point cap, 17 to 20 each game, barely getting it done. Yep. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move into the negatives. Will, I'm already bitter. I'm already kind of still my cup being half full. I'm looking at it from different angles. So really it's getting smaller, but the angle makes it look like it's a lot more. Talk to me about what kind of negatives you have right now, man.
Yeah, so I started off with the defense with positives, the fact that they made big plays in order to take Chicago out of, scoring position. But we got to talk about the defense here.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the fact that we gave up 392 yards, that Fields had 88 yards rushing. Yeah. Herbert had 75 and Montgomery had 67.
Yeah.
So as Ben said earlier, I think Chicago lost to Washington.
Yeah.
And it's like, we were outgained significantly in that game. How we survived to win, I don't know. Yeah. So, but the defense, made the timely plays, but what they had been building got lost on Thursday night. The fact that we were playing well against the run, that did not happen. We allowed Chicago to go up and down the field. It just so happened that plays or penalties or whatnot would stall drives, as opposed to, us stopping them and getting the ball back quickly. So defense got some work to do in that running game.
Yeah, definitely do. And listen, I always talk about complimentary football, so I'm not gonna, do however bad the defense was and the few bright spots it had, the offense had less. Yeah. The offense was not great. A week ago, we talked about it. Wasn't until the last drive of the game where we get our first down. This week wasn't that much better. We were 2 of 11 on third down. We've talked about all year being complimentary, helping the defense, giving them a breather. Forever great they played. They were on the field all day. You looked at the end of the game, and one of the things I remember listening to the game on the radio, they were saying, Sweat, Deron Payne, they want to be in there, but they're exhausted. They've been on the field all daggone day. So our offense is not helping our defense at all. And it's rough. It's something that we get frustrated in. I mean, among other things. I mean, you alluded to it before. We got beaten everything. Every statistical category. They beat us in first downs. They beat us in time of possession. I mean, everything. They were better in penalties. It's not a good look. We won the game, great. And I did. You saw me. I went in the group chat. It was like, we won. I'm sick and tired of it. We won. Man. But it doesn't matter. We didn't win. We barely won, man. It was rough. And it is stressful to continue to try to, like that game was harder to try to convince people and get people excited about than the Dallas game or the last game, the Titans game. You know what I mean? I understood the reasons why things went the way they did. This one, like you said, all intents and purposes, we should be talking about being 1-5 and just, are we looking at draft picks right now?
Yeah, I know.
It
was close. It was very close.
But we won. But this is a negative. So, Will, give me something else that's negative, man.
I mean, 99 yards passing, man.
No.
That ain't going to do it. That is not going to. We did not trade a second round and a third round pick for that. Come on. We can't have that. That's just not professional. You can't be playing as a starting quarterback in the NFL if that's all you can produce. And hey, if he got hurt to the point where he needed to be out and have surgery, maybe we should have gone to the backup during the game. If we're in that much of a trouble of having some trouble there. And then continuing, we still had 7 penalties out there, so we're losing another, 30 some yards there. It's stalling drives. It just continues to be the same thing here where our offense is not able to overcome some of this stuff. And so we can't be having these negative plays that derail our drives. Everything has to be perfect in order for us to score, including getting the ball, within like the 20-yard line. So we only need a couple plays to score. So, yeah.
It's rough, man. It's absolutely rough. And like you said, at the end of the day, quarterback is hurt. So after all of that, he's out now. So now we're looking at what's going to go with the future, trying to get, meshes, who works with who. We're going to see what Heineke can bring into the table. I know everybody's expecting the Heineke that played last game, or for a lot of these fans, they're expecting the Heineke that played in the playoff game against Tom Brady. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I know you are with your shirt. I understand it. And we'll see. We'll see if that happens. Me personally, this is where my cup is almost empty. I know. I was excited about him after the Tampa Bay game. I was excited about him after that 4-game stretch. And then every single time I get excited, he reminds me again and again why he is the backup and will be probably a career backup. And that's just what it is. I'm not dissing the man. I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying Heineke has his ceiling, and we know what it is. And I don't want another first play of the game interception against Dallas, and then him chucking the ball upfield to Terry McLaurin and triple coverage just to see him almost break his back in the game.
Right.
So Heineke, right. I need something.
Now don't share too much. We got a whole Heineke segment here.
We do. We absolutely do. I got a little bitter and it kept running over, man. But other than that, everything you said, is pretty spot on as far as negatives. We didn't do good against the run against the Bears. Justin Fields got a whole bunch, almost 300 total yards in the game. Our defense really bent as far as you could bend. And I know we always say it all year, but I'm getting tired of it, man. I kind of want to have a defense that, stops somebody. Not like, we're gonna torch you all up and down the field and hope for a stop in the end zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That we only had that in 2020 or 2020 with Jack Del Rio. And that's only because we're up against Gucci Danucci out there.
Exactly.
It hasn't happened for the last 23 games now.
It's been a while.
I think we've seen enough of this book to know what's left to be written.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.